Attention human, prepare yourself for the double Pipcast.
Hey everyone, it's Shawn with the Double Pipcast, where we try to bring you the latest in Transformers TCG news and goings-on. Unfortunately, we don't have much going on right now as we're waiting for the Titan Masters release on May 29th. Hopefully it may get pushed up a little bit as some restrictions are being eased up here in the States. Right now, though, is what we're going to do is we're bringing in a new series on YouTube here, we're calling our sealed stratagems. This is sort of a way to look at each set as they have been released and take a look at them and how they relate in the sealed play, either within sealed tournaments or sealed league. Hopefully give my own personal opinion on what I think is best, and maybe hopefully as you take a look at what we're trying to say here, you might be able to do a little bit better in your leagues or in your tourneys there. So as what we've come up with here is a series here that we're going to put up on YouTube called our Sealed Stratagems. Is what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the waves that have been released so far and how they relate to sealed play, whether it's in sealed tournament or a sealed league that a lot of people will be playing in. Hopefully once all these restrictions are lifted and we can start playing at our local shops again. So as what I'm going to do today is I'm going to break down what I look at when I am playing in a sealed release or with a sealed tournament or in a sealed league. What I think is best probably in those environments. We're going to go through Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3, and Wave 4 here. I do have 6 packs of each set. So what we're going to do is we're going to open these up. We're going to take a look at a random mix of cards, and we're going to break it down into 3 areas that I look at when I come into a sealed league or something, and that is our pip mix, our bot mix, and our battle card mix. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring that down to a quick explanation here. Now our pip mix is going to be the mix of pips that we're going to get in a random sampling. Now, each set really does have kind of a theme on, the majority of pips and what we see a lot within the common cards. We're going to take a look at the bot mix. These are the mix of bots within the overall set itself and how they relate to the sealed environment. And we're also going to take a look at the battle card mix, which includes the number of battle cards that you can get with certain packs, and also the strength of some of the more common cards that comes within the sets as they relate to sealed play. Alright, so before we open these up and we take a look at what we get in these random samplings here, as if we're going in to some release tourneys here. As what we want to do is I'm going to kind of break down what my overall, what I think is best, and some of the themes that we can see within the packs. Now with Wave 1, I never played in any release events on that, but I have opened lots of boxes, and when I do open boxes, I like to open up them in 6-pack quantities. That way you can kind of get an idea of when you go to a release event of what you can expect. Now, you can take a look at that and you can say that that's not only what's expected for you, but what also everyone else is going to probably be expecting, at least when it comes to the pit mix and the overall bot mix of the sets. Now, first off, Wave 1 is a really great set. It does have a lot of the more staple cards. Its pip mix is pretty good because you only have 3 colors, and of course you have the non-pip cards in it. The battle cards are a lot more generic, as you see in later sets, cards get more specialized. Now, every deck has the Autobot, Decepticons, or Wave, excuse me, have your other cards of that just generally you can get that you won't be able to play. Wave 1 has a good, doesn't have very many of those except for more of the Optimus Prime card, the character-specific weapon cards. The bot mix in Wave 1 for sealed is pretty good too, mainly because any bot you get out of there will most likely be playable. Now, one thing you should never go into a release event thinking is you're going to get the super rares and you're just going to win. Some of the sets don't really have super rares that really, are very good when it comes to the sealed environment, mainly combiners. So a lot of the super rares require constructed decks or specific matchups to go against. Now, Wave 1 is a great mix if you want to get a lot of double pip cards that don't have star cards, as we start seeing in Siege series. Now, one thing that probably is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I really like the combiner set when it comes to sealed environment. Not for the bots itself, but for the battle cards. It's got some of the better battle cards when it comes to sealed environment. You've got a lot of good green cards in there, and I believe the best star cards still come in combiner set. So I think combiners is probably the number 2 set when it comes to whenever you're thinking of playing a sealed league or a sealed tournament, whenever you get to choose your own packs. Siege 1 comes in right there at number 3 for me, mainly because you have less battle cards, and the pit mix in Siege 1 and Siege 2 was heavy black. There's a lot of Pierce in that. So, you can, with the pit mix like that, you can't really you can't really rely on getting some good green cards that you can fetch, which combiners has a lot of good green cards to get rid of those double pip cards that you might get. And Siege 2, I think, is the worst for release. The bot mix is not that great, mainly because they have, like with Brunt, Omega Supreme, Six Gun, and some of the smaller guys. They're just not really that, if you get one of those pieces, you're not, it's pretty much a card that you're not going to be able to play in the sealed set, in the sealed environment. So I would recommend not getting Siege 2 unless you want to just go all out and then get all Siege 2. That's the only time Siege 2 can really work, in my opinion, when it comes. Now, just getting right off the bat, if I were playing a sealed tournament or a sealed league, starting off where I get to choose, I would basically go 2 with Wave 1, 2 packs of Wave 2, and 2 packs of Wave 3. Mainly because you have a good mix of battle cards with that, so you can pretty much, guarantee you might get a star card and some green cards that'll be good. These all share common cards, so you have double chances of getting some brainstorms. You have better chances of getting double pip common cards like improvised shield, handheld blaster. So there's also the pep talks that's in those. So that is a good combination of being able to get some good staple cards that would be really needed in a sealed environment. Plus, with combiners at least, the bot mix is pretty good, mainly because even when you get a combiner, they're at least still usable in the sealed environment. Some of them are at least still better than some of the weaponizers and battle masters that come in Siege 1 and definitely that come in Siege 2. So hopefully, whenever you're going into that, just kind of remember that, and maybe that might help you out. Or, if you don't like what I'm saying, maybe say I'm wrong in the comments and tell me I'm a moron. But as what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go open all these packs here. We're gonna come back with our stats and see what our pit mix, what our bot mixes are, and what our battle card mix is. And we'll go in a little bit more in depth with each of the waves as we go through what we got out of them. I will also take 2 packs of the Wave 1, Wave 2, and Wave 3, and we'll open those together, and we'll see what, what my theory is on what's the best there, and see how that plays out, and if we can make a pretty good deck out of them. Alright, so I got all the packs opened up here, so now we can start analyzing a little bit what we got. Went ahead and thought I'd start with the mix pack that was my suggestion. As you can see, we got a pretty good mix here. Now, out of our 40 battle cards and 8 bots, we've got a pretty good mix of our bots. We got 12 orange pips, 11 blue, 10 white, 11 green, 3 black, 2 stars, and 3 no pip cards, and 1 double pip card, which kind of was a little bit low. I was hoping for another one of that. But as you can see, our mix is pretty good. We got a lot of good attack, and with our bots here, looks like we can make a pretty good deck out of that. This is something that I'd love to get this little mix in a sealed tournament or in the start of a sealed league. But as you can see, with doing that, we get a pretty good even mix of everything. We've got a good selection of what we can do, and out of our bots, we can see there's a lot of utility with Sparkmaster and Dark Mounts. Got that. We did get a Quartermaster and Aimless, so that really brings up a lot of viability there. And got a couple of Swindled, so making all Decepticon would be a great, pretty much a good strategy with going with this. So you can, as you can see, as I was talking about, you know, the pit mix really looks good, and that would really make me go towards orange, because out of a 25 card deck, you really got, you know, half your deck is going to be orange pips in that mostly. So good mix, and of course a Leap of Faith is one of our star cards, so that is that's great right there too. So let's go ahead and start looking at the individual waves. We'll just focus on the pit mixes and everything, and then we'll go through a quick overview at the end. Alright, and here we have our Wave 1 mix. Now, as I said at the beginning here, Wave 1 has a really good balance when it comes to what you can expect in pips. As you can see here, you know, 17 orange, 14 blue, 10 white, 4 no pip cards, and 3 double pip cards. So really good mix there. The rares were pretty good. A lot of good commons and uncommon cards. Grenade launchers. You know, just a really good mix here that can be used. You can go all Decepticon. You can go all Autobot, maybe going 2-3 wide with the mix there. But you know, one of the disadvantages of taking this is you have no orange cards. You have no you have no green cards to be able to recycle any double pip cards that you can't really use, and your bot mix is pretty limited too, because you have no star cards to be able to fill out any missing stars there. Even though you can get some really great cards, I do recommend getting at least 2 packs of Wave 1 whenever you can, just in order to try to get some of those staple cards like Supercharge that can really, you know, make a loss a win, just when you get it right, as they say in Yu-Gi-Oh, right in the heart of the cards there. So let's go ahead and take a look at Wave 2 here. Okay, and now we have our Wave 2 mix, which quite frankly, this is where I'm going to lay my case, where I think Combiners is probably the, you know, tied with the first, with Wave 1 with the best sets to get for sealed and sealed tournaments and sealed leagues. As you can see, the bot mix isn't that great, so you don't want to go all Combiners. However, you know, with their low count, you can easily do a 3 wide. And within this mix, we got 4 star cards and 2 Leaps of Faith, mounted missiles, so you can't go wrong with this. Now, overall, we did get 2 Enigmas, so, you know, really, those are going to be useless cards. But, yeah, we got 42 battle cards total. You got to make 25 cards for a set. We did get 23 orange pips. And quite frankly, with that, if you made your deck right, every battle you're going to be getting an orange pip. Now the set was notoriously low on blue pips, so you can see that reflected here. We had 4 whites, we had 11 greens, which is great because there's also some great green cards in there with Bashing Shield, Enforcement Batons, Rest and Relaxations, a couple of those for some healing. Like I said, 4 star cards. We got 1 no pip card, which is great, and 4 double pip cards. That's why I think Combiners is great when it comes to the double pip cards, because you'll probably get at least one if you get 2 packs. As you can see, we had a great mix in the battle cards. Almost all of them are usable there, especially if you took all Autobots. You could go with the Confidences there and really pull off some pretty good turns there. So this is why I think Combiners is one of the more underrated sets. Yeah, the bots suck, but the battle card mix is really good, and the pit mix is really good too if you're looking to try to push out some orange, because the set did have some orange. Now later on, if people want it, we'll get 6 more Combiners packs. We'll open them up and we'll compare the pit mixes. We'll compare the card mixes and the bot mixes, and we'll see exactly how it holds up with another random sampling. But never underestimate Combiners. You can, like I said, the bots aren't that great, but even then, they're still solid bots. These are, Sunstreaker's going to be better than, most of the Battle Masters or anything like that you're going to see in Siege, and it's only going to cost 1 more. The super rares in Combiners isn't that great. When it comes to sealed, Wind Rider isn't that great, but Springer, Blitzwing, and Starscream, they can definitely come out and hit big. Now, if you got a Starscream with a mix like that, you can be one-shotting, even some really good lower bots, really good upper tier bots that are lower on the mix, like another Wheeljack or something like that. So always think about Combiners whenever you're wanting to get some good greens, some good orange mixes, and just some good battle cards that you're going to be able to use. And hopefully you'll get a star card or 2, and that'll really help you out there. Alright, here we have Wave 3, which is the Siege I, part of the War for Cybertron trilogy. Now, as you can see, we did get a kind of a real balanced mix of pips within this random sampling here. Now, I have seen pretty much the same. There is a lot of average when it comes to the pips. You're pretty much going to be average. There's, unlike Combiners, where there's heavy orange pips, and then, as we're going to see in Siege 2, heavy black pips. One thing I like about Siege is the bot mix. The bots within the Siege are pretty much all of them are really good and useful in sealed, especially if you get like some Battle Masters and a Quartermaster. That works out. Sky Warp works really great with secret actions. So you'll all, hopefully you'll be able to get some secret actions or something. As you can see, if you were to get, all Siege in a sealed league, you're, with this random sampling, you're not going to be able to do all too much. Now, against other, if you're just going against all Siege sealed decks when other people are Siege, you'll see a lot more, balanced fights or whatever. Now, I would definitely pick up Siege as an extra pack or something if you need some more bots again. But one thing they do have is a lot of green pips that are on upgrades. So if you're needing upgrades and you're needing green pips, then Siege 1 is definitely something to help out there. The star cards aren't that great within, we got 2 fuel caches there. Pretty much, that, really inflates that orange pip number there. So all in all, it's a good set if you're needing some bots to pick up. It's a good set if you need some greens with upgrades, whereas Combiners has a lot of greens that's attached to actions, especially the Enigmas. The super rares are really good in Siege, unlike, I think, Combiners. The super rares really aren't that great in sealed. Their super rares require a lot more fine-tuning decks, which you really can't do in sealed unless you get really, really lucky. And, of course, one of the big things about sealed is, your luck and your random number generator there. So let's go ahead and take a Siege 2. You're going to be very surprised with... And lastly, here we go. We have our Siege 2, which is our Wave 4. Now, as you can see right off the bat, we can see where the overall pip mix for this set is, and that is within the black pips. 26 total black pips out of 6 packs. With a 25 card limit, you could make it to where every battle you are flipping 2 to 4 black pips. As you can see, there's a lot of commons in here that are double black pip cards. So that is, that's really the main focus when it comes to the pip mix of this set. The bot mix is pretty good. The only problem that I don't like with the Siege II bot mix is Omega Supreme and the 6-gun and Brunt. If you get those in those are pretty much a wasted card. Another thing about the Siege 2 battle cards I don't like is the Triptychon cards. You get some of those, they're going to be useless for you. At least Relentless Evasion can be used as a triple pip card, but with the other star cards that we got in here, like Plunder or Heroic Resolve, I would definitely use one of those over that. Another problem with the Siege 2 is the Mercenaries. The battle card mix is a very specialized battle card mix. So if you don't get any mercs, things like Contract Contingency are pretty much only going to be used for pips, which again isn't that bad, because that is a good strategy to build your deck towards your most common pips and then build your guys around it. As you can see, this bot mix in this sampling was pretty good. Private Hot Rod, of course, but then we also got a Battle Master as well. We did get a part of Brunt, so, again, that's a wasted card there. Overall, Siege 2 is a decent set. I really wouldn't take it as a starting pack in a sealed league. I really wouldn't want to take it in a sealed tournament as well. I still believe the 2 Wave 1s, 2 Wave 2s, and 2 Wave 3s is a better mix. Or, take out the Wave 1 or something. It really depends on your personal preference, but in a sealed league, whenever you're adding to it, Siege 2 is really good, especially if you're trying to focus your deck towards, if you need more damage, then this is a great set because of the Pierce that's in there. Overall, again, the battle cards are really specialized in it, so a lot of them really do not work well with sealed environment. But again, some of them will, help you out if you get them, especially like Medic's Field and some other cards like Pocket Processor. Contract Contingency is still real good again, and especially if you get that. But the minor medic kits are really good as well for your characters, and with the double pip cards. So really, I do rank Siege 2 as probably the lesser of them in a sealed environment, but of course in a constructed environment, Siege 2 has many great cards in it. So let's go ahead and do a quick overview of everything, and then we'll get this wrapped up. Alright, and here we are for just a quick overview of everything here, and we'll just go through what my rankings are for the different waves in the sealed environments. Now, as you remember, we did get a pretty good mix on our mix of 2 Wave 1, 2 Wave 2, and 2 Wave 3. I do think Wave 1 and Wave 2 are kind of tied for the first when it comes to the battle card mix. Wave 1 probably has better bots in it, but with some of the advent of star cards and newer cards and some of the other sets that help lower star guys, some of the combiner guys are just as good as any of the battle masters or weaponizers. I do think Siege 1 has the best mix of bots when it comes, so if you're wanting to look to strengthen your decks in a sealed league for bots, at least, I would say Wave 1, its battle cards are pretty good, but a lot of them are kind of more specialized, and the pit mix is kind of average there. And Wave 2 is a good set if you're looking to add some damage to your deck, especially with the Pierce. As we can see, pretty much every pack is going to come with 2 or 3 Pierce pips. So if you're looking to try to add just some straight damage to your Sealed League decks, Wave 2 is pretty good, but I would not take that in my initial wave of 6. So there you go. Stay tuned here on May 29th. We will be opening up a box. I'll be opening them up in 6-packs mix. We'll take an overview of all the pit mix and battle cards and see how they look in a sealed environment. And hopefully whenever all this pandemic thing is over and we start getting to our sealed leagues and sealed tournaments, hopefully this will help you out make some decisions on what your sealed tournament pack mix is, or what you're trying to add to your sealed leagues. So everyone, take it easy and stay tuned for more Double Pipcast.